I saw a clip of you guys attending yung mga sanctioning bodies o yung boxing commissions na mga meetings or yung nawawala yung
Conventions?
nawawala
Yes,
yung
convention.
conventions ko. Yeah, conventions. Like,
Opo.
what is the process of improving the rankings of a boxer? So, for example, you as a coach and you're handling fighters, you're helping out fighters as well. Syempre, I saw the clip with Christian. So, how does this work? Like, how do fighters get their name up in the rankings when it comes to these conventions?
So when you go to these conventions, what you have to do is do your homework. It
Mm-hmm.
it's almost like court, no? If you want your fighter to be ranked, and to be seen by the governing body, because of course, boxing is a worldwide sport.
Yeah.
You want to introduce your boxer in the very early stages to the sanctioning bodies. And then when it starts to come between like top 15, right? Because that's where you really want to be, is top 15 of the sanctioning bodies. You have to know the other fighters sa lista. So, meaning to say, if my fighter is, let's just take for example, no, WBC 2022, I think November 2022, we were
Yeah.
in Acapulco at the one that Jason Manoni beat was number 2 in the rankings. At Raymart Gabayo was number 3. Nonito was number 4. So I made the argument that Nonito already beat Raymart Gabayo, so he should be ahead in the rankings. And he lost to Noe Inoue. So it's not like we lost to a number 10.
Yeah.
We shouldn't be going down. Yung the one that Jason had beat that took the number 2 spot, yung argument ko was that 2 or 3 fights ago he fought someone, his record looks pretty, 50-1. Pero he fought 3 fights ago against a debut fighter. See, so the level
So
of
pati quality of
competition.
opponent.
Opo, quality din. Kasi I mean, if ever, okay, so if they're going to acknowledge him being the number 2, well, we could go and find some kids that for a debut fight and beat them all in a row, and then what? We'll be ranked number 1. So you have to know
That
who
makes
you're
sense.
up against, the quality of their opponents at if they're being active then. Because there's some people that are in the top 15 and they haven't fought in a year, or they don't have a fight scheduled. So why are they so high in the rankings if they're not being active? So you have to know all of these things before you go into the rankings and plead your case. Parang ganun.
So once you prove those information to them, then your chances of going up in the rankings would be better. Would it still depend kung saan, which part of the rankings you will be put on sa kanila?
Yeah, and it's going to be dependent on if the opponent is there. So let's say I have a number 9 in the WBC and I want to jump him to number 7 or 6. I'll make my case. It's open mic, so if the guy, his representatives are there, number 7, he can argue back with me.
Oh, wow.
Parang open forum siya.
Yeah.
Wow.
The good thing about WBC, the one thing about WBC that's different from the other sanctioning bodies is the WBC allows it to be talagang open forum. And then you'll see them move it on the Excel spreadsheet. They'll switch it then and there na.
Wow. So you're like in a courtroom trying to defend your client.
Opo. It gets really heated
Crazy.
at the WBC. It gets really heated. At the other ones, it's not as immediate. You plead your case and then you write, and then in addition to verbally saying it in front of the sanctioning body and all its boards of directors, you follow it up with an email restating your case, and then usually by the next ranking cycle, which is every month, then they'll move.
Coach Rachel, who can attend these conventions so that they can lobby for their fighter? Is it by invitation only, or do you like, okay, is there
You
a convention
email
coming up?
them.
I want to
Mm-hmm.
represent my promotion, or I want to represent so and so fighter. Can I
Mm-hmm.
attend this? Or is it like upon approval pa rin ni sanctioning body?
Hindi po, it's an open invite. Kung
Oh.
if you're not one of the, high ranking world champions, then of
Mm-hmm.
course you're going to have to pay your own way, or things like that, and you
Mm.
you have to pay for the convention. So the convention, I
Mm-hmm.
think, is, I don't know, $200 or $300 per person for a
Mm-hmm.
4-day event that it covers food, all the activities, because they always do a boxing match, then they do, after dinner drinks, all these things. So it's open invite to anybody that wants to attend. The
Grabe
bad
man.
part is I have seen fans, or YouTubers go in and try to rank a fighter that's already ranked, and they didn't
Mm-hmm.
prior discuss it with yung team.
Yeah.
So, for example, if I was number 10, and I'm okay with staying at number 10 because I want, 7 and 8 to knock each other out.
Oh,
And
Mm-hmm.
but then someone else comes in because they're not asking for your
oh.
credentials. They're just assuming that you
Mm.
sent this person to speak on your
Oh, wow.
behalf. So then it starts to get, confusing and kind of
Mm-hmm.
chaotic because, like, wait, I didn't ask that. I didn't ask for that. I didn't ask to become mandatory. Why did you ask that?
Yeah.
I actually got in it with a YouTuber, WBA. Yeah, because he was speaking on behalf of a fighter. I was like, "What are you doing?" And he's like, "Well, because this, and that." I was like, "That's not what they don't want to be called mandatory yet. They're just waiting on the sidelines because their time wasn't scheduled for them to be
Mm-hmm.
mandatory, and they're waiting for to see like what happens with yung champion and yung defense niya." So
Yeah.
he's like, "Don't call me mandatory. We need to see who wins this." He's like, "If it's
Mhm.
too hard of an opponent, I don't want to be named mandatory yet." So
Okay, so it could be anybody,
So it's
and then they
crazy.
could vouch for anybody.
yes,
Medyo
and the reason
walang
it's set
vetting,
up like that
walang
though is
vetting
because,
process.
well, the thing is,
Mm-hmm.
the reason why it's like that is
Mm-hmm.
because it's expensive to come to the conventions.
Yeah.
No, like the flights, the
Yeah.
hotel, and then the entrance fee to be in the convention. So a lot of these other promoters and managers, what they'll do is they'll be like, "Hey, are you going?" And I'll say yes. And they'll be like, "I'll pay you $2,000 to rank my fighter.
Mm-hmm.
If he gets ranked, I'll pay you 2,000." Because then they're saving money from not going, and
Yeah.
stuff like that. So they'd rather just
Mm-mm.
pay representatives. But the sanctioning body never asked to see the contract if they're actually supposed to be representing the fighter.
If anyone can go there and try to vouch for the fighters, it can be a problem.
It can, yeah. And that's why most of the teams do watch yung live stream. So I
Mm-hmm.
think, yeah, 2 years ago sa WBA, yung kaibigan ko is friends with Jeron Boots Ennis.
Yeah.
And some random person was talking about Boots. And then I looked at my friend, and he called the team, and he's like, "Who the hell was speaking on the mic?" And we're like, "We
Mm-hmm.
don't know." And he's like, "We didn't send him. We didn't
Diba?
send him." So, for us,
Yeah.
we told the WBA, and then in addition to the team, sent them an
Mm-hmm.
email that we didn't request for ranking.
Now I have weird questions. It's like, what is the
Yeah.
incentive for that person to actually go there and vouch for another guy without proper representation, without the fighter or the coaches knowing that he will vouch for them? Diba? So ano
Mm-hmm.
to? It's like, okay,
Super fan.
feeling niya, hey, 'di ba, super fan, I got your rankings improved, 'di ba?
Opo.
'Di ba?
Yan.
Naangat ko yung rankings niyo. Can I be part of the team now? I did this for you. Medyo
Yeah.
ano yun eh, 'di ba?
Yeah. That's all.
'Di ba? 'Di ba? That's ano,
There's
that's
like no
medyo
monetary
hassle 'yun.
incentive for them if they are able to, help a fighter go up in the rankings, even if they don't want to.
Depende. It's really up
Ah,
to, the team. Like if they liked the movement, yeah, you can pay them. Like, here's
Mm-hmm.
a little something. But if there was never a discussion
alright, okay.
before, what are you gonna do? He's not gonna be
Yeah.
able that same guy is not gonna be able to call the sanctioning body and be like, "Oh, well, now I want you to de-rank him."
Yeah.
Can't do that.
Yeah.
Oo, de-rank him, 'di ba? 'Yun yung ano ngayon, 'yun yung medyo tricky ngayon. Now we know, 'di ba? At least now we
Yes.
know. And people have a better idea of how it's done. So apparently, this is a totally different, it opens up a lot of things in perspective, tsaka it opens a lot
Mm-hmm.
of things for interpretation kasi ngayon Pag umangat yung rankings pala yan, okay, did he really want that now? Di ba? Nag-improve yung rankings. Teka, gusto niya ba talaga yan? Di ba?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Or baka may nag-super fan mode.